Hello friends, this is Rupesh and you're watching CVPNet video series on C++ threading portions, and today's topic is thread or process synchronization. But we will only use the thread example to explain this topic. Why? Because whatever condition apply for synchronization on thread, the same thing applies for the process. Okay, so whatever mechanism and whatever things we'll discuss, that is common for both of the things. Okay, so we'll take the thread example and that applies to the process. Okay, let's dive into the topic now. So the first part is thread or process synchronization, synchronize to access critical section. So it is very simple that we are going to understand the synchronization word in between threads. Okay, so let's take an example of thread T1 and T2. And if they want to synchronize, then there has to be a critical section here. And what is this critical section? Critical section is one or collection of program statements which should be executed by only one thread or process at a time. So it is very clear that critical section is one or collection of program statements. So there can be only one statement and there can be 2, 3, 4 or n number of statements, and they all can be treated as critical section. And synchronization problem comes when there are multi-threading and multi-processing systems. What I mean is, if there is only one thread, either T1 or T2, it doesn't matter, and that thread is executing some critical section, there is no point in synchronization because no other thread can access that critical section at the same time. What I mean by same time is, and yeah, for that, let's use this example here. So when we are creating two threads T1 and T2, we have written these two lines. So it is quite possible that these two threads will start at the same time. So let's make a graph here. So this is thread versus time graph, and this time unit I'm not writing because it depends on the processor how much speed it can handle. So we will just go with the numbers like time 1, time 2, time 3. We'll not talk about the unit of the time, whether it is microsecond or something. As I said, we will create T1 and T2. So at time 0, it got created. Both T1 and T2 reached here at time 1. Okay, so we'll say that at time 1, they are at this location because they both started at the same time, and it is possible that it will reach, both the threads will reach here at the same time. And this particular statement is going to change whatever value you are passing. Like for thread 1, it will add 100 inside this bank balance, and don't forget that this is a global function, so it is common in both the threads. So T1 and T2 both will try to access the same bank balance variable. Okay, so if T1 is changing this bank balance variable, then T2 can see the reflection. Okay, so it is actually common between these two threads because it is global, it is not local to this thread, correct? So at this particular time, what happened that it is going to change this bank balance with the values they have in this value. Okay, so for time thread T2, bank balance is equal to bank balance plus VAL, which is nothing but 200. Okay, for T2 it is 200, and for T1 this bank balance is equal to bank balance plus 100. And these two instructions are going to be executed at the same time. So currently this bank balance is 0 here and the 0 here because we have reached at this instruction at the same time. Okay, time 1. So bank balance was initially 0, so it is 0 for both the instructions or both the threads. Now the result of this and this would be bank balance 200, and here bank balance is 100. Now the confusion is, once you are out of this scope, what is the value of this bank balance, 200 or 100? If we execute these instruction in both the threads at the same time, then we will have this confusion. And this is the problem called race condition also. Like you have a race to change this data, and once the race is completed, we don't know which will win. This thread will win or this thread will win, who will update their data, and there is no certainty that what would be the data value. If you want to understand this topic little more detail, I can tell you that if you write something like bank balance is equal to bank balance plus some value, maybe 100. If this is what you are going to execute in your program like this, then how processor will do this? So let's break this full thing into two parts. First is you should be knowing key what is the value of this BB, I mean bank balance. First it will load whatever is there inside BB into this register. So initially BB was holding 0 and it is loaded into some register. Now it will check that okay, there is an add operation and we have to add 100 to that. Then the register value will get updated. Now this register is holding 100 value because before it was 0, now plus 100 means 100. And then you have to store this 100 back to this BB. It may look like this. So this is 100 and this is some address 0 cross 11 and this is nothing but your bank balance. Okay, so this is address part, this is value part. So it got updated. So as you can see that when we are storing this instruction, I mean this register's value back to this value portion of this bank balance, either of these two can win the race and actually update this particular position. So either 200 will come here or 100 will come here. This is what I wanted to explain you with this load and store example. I just went little deeper inside this statement. But let me tell you one thing, it is not common. What I mean to say is, if I will run this program, it is really very hard to see the result that it is 200 or 100. We will most likely see the result as 300. Why? Because it is very uncommon to reach to this place at the same time. Okay? And nowadays processes are really very fast that this time unit have become very small that it is really very hard to actually get this situation. But let me tell you one thing, that it is quite possible in maybe 1 million or trillion times you may end up into this situation. And if this is really a bank balance and if your system is really like this, you may end up corrupting your system, and this is not good for some company. Now whatever we discussed so far is a problem. Now we will go for the solution, and I know you know the solution. Solution is locking mechanisms, and we will use mutex for that. What happens is, what I mean by this is, let's suppose you have this condition like if value is less than or equal to 0, you just return. Okay, before reaching to this statement, actually you have this condition also. And then after this, you have this bank balance plus is equal to VAL. Okay, and you have this thing inside your function. What is the critical section here? What you should guard with the mutex? Actually, the critical section is this portion only. This is not the critical section because you are not going to corrupt any data by doing it in parallel. You're just checking this value, right? And let me tell you that how to actually identify the critical section. When there is some common object or variable between more than two threads, then that becomes the critical section. Here bank balance is common between these two threads, so this will become the critical section. This value 100 and 200 is actually local to these two threads, T1 and T2, but this bank balance is actually common. And wait a minute, I said key if it is common then it is a critical section, but wait a minute, it's not a critical section if you are just reading the value of that variable. What I mean is, if you just did this, see out bank balance, then this is not the critical section. Even if it is, this BB is common for both the threads because we are not changing anything. Critical section comes when there is a write operation on your common variable. If there is a read operation on your common variable, it is not considered as critical section, because by reading that you are not going to corrupt that. But if you will write it, there is a possibility that you may corrupt, because you will execute the update instruction at the same time. Both the threads will execute this instruction at the same time. So as we have discussed so much about the synchronization, and yeah, this is the problem. Let's look at the solution now. So the solution to this is using a mutex. std mutex is a class. So there is a mutex, and yeah, that mutex should be common between the threads. Then only you can lock that and have a synchronization using the mutex. So m.lock and m.unlock, and you are done. You have synchronized your bank balance access across the threads and you are safe. Now if we will draw the similar diagram again. Okay, diagram is ready. Now as I said, these two threads will reach to this particular instruction at the same time, but now we have this instruction before that. Then let's assume these two threads have reached here at the same time. This is instruction 1, statement 1, 2 and 3, and let's suppose at statement 1 both the threads have reached at the same time at time number 1, and this mutex lock will grant either of these thread that you can access this mutex and go further. So let's suppose randomly it gave the chance to thread number 2. Then thread number 2 will only go ahead and thread number 1 will start waiting, as T2 have got the lock. And I should tell you that you should be knowing what is mutex before this. So if you don't know what is mutex, please go ahead and watch my mutex video for this. So now T2 will reach to this bank balance plus is equal to value. So here BB is equal to BB plus, as this is T2 is doing 200 and the result is 200. Okay, now BB is 200 right now. After this update, m.unlock was executed, then that mutex on what this T1 was waiting is released. Now T1 will be able to lock it and move further because T1 was actually waiting here itself. Then T1 can go ahead. Now when this T1 is doing BB is equal to BB plus 100, it is actually nothing but 300, because BB is now 200 here, and 200 plus 100 is 300. As you can see that only one thread will execute this particular critical section at a time. Okay, if there were T3, T4 and n number of threads, either of these threads will actually get the lock, and that thread is only allowed to go inside this and execute this. And then after executing this, that thread has to unlock it, otherwise it is a deadlock situation. Whatever you are locking, you have to unlock when you are done. And this is what is called synchronization. You are synchronizing these threads using mutex. So I think I'm done. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. It will help me a lot and it encourages me to create more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Bye bye, and I'll see you in the next videos.